Hey, it's Adam with Theros Media, and today I want to go over with you a campaign that we set up for HVAC contractors that we think works really well, that we know works really well, and I'm not going to do much editing, so don't mind the general pauses and all that type of stuff, but this is a complete advertising guide for HVAC companies, so I want to go through everything from Facebook to Google Ads, what you can do on Google, display network, YouTube, how we use them, remarketing, retargeting, all that type of stuff, and the sales system that you have to have in place to actually make advertising profitable for your company. So first, we're going to go over the general basics, what everything is, who I am, and then we're going to get into all the screens up here that we have set up for you to show you what everything looks like. I'm not going to go click by click to set up everything, but I'm going to go over everything in general, and then the stuff I don't go over, you can figure out. Everything's pretty simple if you follow the prompts on all the platforms. So that's the general overview. Let's go over this really quickly. So this is a complete guide to HVAC advertising. So advertising for HVAC companies. I'm Adam. I specialize in advertising for HVAC companies. Over the past 5 years, I've helped only specifically HVAC companies grow their businesses. My lifetime lead value is a little higher than this by now, but it's $83 million the last time I calculated it. Lead value meaning the amount of leads that provided contractors and the amount of sales they were potentially able to make. So the amount of leads I generated times however much that value of a lead is. So $83 million with the lead value. And revenue, I was a partner in a company, so this is revenue numbers from 2021. I was a partner in a company from 2019 to 2021, or potential partner. So this is the letter of intent that I got in 2020. And the agreement was I worked in the business for at least 6 months. So I started in 2019 and 2020, this came through. So I worked in the business for at least 6 months to get to know the business a little better. Because I was advertising for them, I was doing a decent job, and they said, "Hey, do you want to buy into the company?" And I said, "Yes." That's the goal of my advertising company initially, was to use it to buy other companies. So 2021 was the year I left. The partnership agreement didn't work out the way I hoped it, but 2021 I left, and I left in September, the first day in October. So October 1st was my September 31st was my official last day, and in revenue while I was there, we did about $3.5 million in revenue, and the majority of that was from advertising. So I know a thing or two about running an HVAC company. Yeah, just a thing or two, not everything. I wouldn't run it myself. I love it very much, but it's going to take me too long to get a license in my area, so that's not what I do best. So leave that to people who do it best. And the average client revenue increase for us, for my company, for my advertising company, is about 250% increase in revenue from when they first worked with us to the time of this recording. So I don't really have any clients that have left. We have a pretty high retention rate for clients that come here. They stay with us for a long time. I've had clients for the entire 5 years I've been here. So 250% from when they started to where they are now. All right, so that takes care of who I am. Adam Leach again. I've been working in the HVAC field, advertising for a long time, HVAC specifically for the last 5 years. I work with companies like Mitsubishi and a lot of other smaller companies, mainly local service companies that service the 25 miles or 35 miles within their address, but I've helped, Mitsubishi. We did our advertising for a while as well. So can you handle advertising is the first thing you need to know if you're going to start. So if you started already, we're going to talk about what it takes to handle advertising and why a lot of contractors don't actually do it correctly. But if you're thinking about starting, can you handle it? So the three big things are, revenue-wise, you need to be at least, you're going to have to advertise. I'm talking about Google and Facebook specifically. You can start a little less, but usually around $500,000 or so in revenue is when you can actually spend money on advertising for the most part. If you're starting out and you're going to spend money, you have a budget set aside for that. Make sure it's put into your overhead. But can you handle it? Do you have a dialed-in sales process? Can you take someone from interested to being sold? And can you follow up? Follow-up is a big thing for advertising for companies that we see. Not a lot of follow-up happens. We get a lot of leads into companies, and they get a lead in, they call it one time, and never call it again. And unfortunately, that doesn't work if you're going to do it successfully. We can get you all the leads in the world, almost, I think our average lead cost as of right now is about $50 for a install lead, and it depends on the install, but typically around $25 to $50 for install lead, depending on the service, depending on the campaign, just that's the average. So can you actually handle leads coming into your business, and can you follow up with those people? Do you have the people in place to follow up with what you're getting? You don't want to spend money on advertising and never call people again. It's like sending out a designer and never calling them after you send someone out. So do you have a dial-in sales process to take people from interested to sold, and can you follow up? Can your staff handle more customers or clients? That's a big thing as well. Your staff might be stretched thin. Can you handle more phone calls in? Can your staff handle calling people to follow up with them? Is that something that your staff can handle? And did you plan for it by pricing it into your pricing now? So typically what we like to see is a company that's actually priced in their advertising spend. You don't want to do this retroactively. This isn't something that you plan after the fact, like, oh, we need to spend money to get more leads in. No, you need to plan for it ahead of time and see how. We have a calculator for you if you want to figure out your pricing, but you need to plan in your advertising spend. So those are the three things that you really can see. Yes, yes, and yes. Can I handle advertising? Okay, so you can move on. So the type of Google campaigns that work are brand campaigns. Brand campaigns are definitely a must. I know a lot of people don't like spending money on their brand name, but I have to tell you that that's going to be some of the best money you spent on Google Ads. You're not going to get that traffic anyway. Most HVAC companies, it's notorious that you have keywords that your competitors are bidding on inside your name. So heating and cooling company, HVAC, mechanical contractors, all the above, air, plumbing, heating, electric, you all have that built inside your name already. So you need to have a campaign built around your name because people are going to be advertising for your brand name inadvertently. They're not going to know they're doing it. Most contractors don't have this set up to do it, even though it's a good thing to do. But you're going to have people cannibalize your name if you just go inside your area and search your brand name plus air conditioning or whatever the service that people are going to be searching for your brand name. You'll see other people pop up ahead of you. And high intent keywords, so I'll give you a stat real quick. High intent keywords, paid traffic gets high intent keywords 65% of the time or so. So I know you think that people are searching for you, and if they're searching for you, then you're going to get the click, but that's not always the case, and that's half the time is not the case. So brand campaigns are important. I'll show you how to set that up in a minute. General campaigns. This is going to be about 70% of your ad spend is going to be on general campaigns, talking about, I like to stick to installations and not services. I'll tell you why in a little bit, but you can do both. Services, you're going to have a dialed in sales process to convert those into long-term customers, and most companies don't do that. And going after high intent keywords originally, and then expanding that out into lower, interest-based keywords afterwards. But high intent keywords first to get your campaign dialed in, to get your landing pages dialed in, get your retargeting dialed in, and then you can expand that later. A retargeting campaign, this is an absolute must. It's like sending out a designer to someone's house. If they don't close the deal on the first time and never following up that person afterwards. You know for the most part that if someone's planning on replacing their system and they're getting an estimate for you 2 weeks, 3 weeks, 4 weeks ahead of time, you know they're going to get other estimates. You're going to need to follow up. Same thing with advertising online. You know that they're getting other estimates from other contractors. You're going to need to follow up with the people who've been to your website so they get estimate from you specifically. And then competitor campaigns, a lot of times they don't put this in place because people usually aren't spending enough money to do it. But it is good to have it in place, to be intentional, because you're going to be bidding on your competitors' keywords anyway for the most part. So it's good to be intentional. Like I said, a lot of times this is kind of on the back burner for us setting up campaigns, even though it shouldn't be. It should be the 4 big campaigns we set up immediately, but people like results immediately, so a lot of times competitor campaigns get put in place and don't get expanded on. We put them in place, but we don't expand on it like we do with the other campaigns, like we should. I know we should get better at doing that. We are going to get better at doing that. So those are the 4 types of Google campaigns that you should set up for, and you can put display network, YouTube, search campaigns, email campaigns, everything under these umbrellas. And you can do things differently inside those campaigns from those different ways of advertising. But initially, these are the 4 types of campaigns you're going to want to be thinking through, and then think of how you can do that over the long term. So Facebook campaigns, kind of the same thing, except you're not really going to have a competitor campaign for Facebook. You can go after your competitors' traffic on their Facebook if their Facebook page is big enough, but usually their Facebook page isn't going to be big enough, so you're not going to worry about it. But these are 3 types of campaigns for Facebook. A brand campaign, not generally something we put in place for a lot of contractors because typically we prefer direct response and getting our clients results. Brand campaigns usually get you page likes, guide downloads, etc. So typically we don't do this, but it's a good idea to think through how you could do it. General campaigns are where we're going to spend the majority of your money. The majority of your money is going to be spent on getting leads into your business and getting those leads set up for estimates. So this is going to be the majority of it to make you profitable on Facebook. I know a lot of times people don't like Facebook, but I'm going to let you know that Facebook is a beast for advertising almost anything, and your business for HVAC is no exception. Retargeting campaigns, these are definitely a must, especially if you're doing Google campaigns. You're going to set up a retargeting campaign at the very least on Facebook so you can advertise to people where they are around the internet. Google can take care of the majority of people, but Facebook, we like that as well because they have what's called a lead form that you can have people sign up for an estimate directly on Facebook, which is pretty powerful for contractors. You don't have to have any extra steps like a landing page, etc. So things you'll need for advertising, you need a functional website. So typically a functioning website means we can build landing pages on top of it, or some type of website landing page builder, something like Lead Pages, Optimizely, what's the other one? Those type of things. ClickFunnels is a good one. But a functional website so you can build landing pages, or a landing page builder specifically for your advertising. Typically, we like the landing page builder because it's a little easier for us as an agency to come in and reorient a website builder more than a website. I know that people are really picky about their websites, so a website builder is something we usually use for clients that helps us optimize their campaigns. Work ethic on your part. So even if you hire an agency like us, we're not going to do 100% of the work for you, even though we would like to. I'm not going to go out and sell your leads for you. If you pay me a lot of money, I can do that for you. But as of right now, you're going to need the work ethic. Your sales team's going to need work ethic to work the leads, re-engage the leads if they go dry, whatever the case is. A little bit of budget. We prefer a little bigger budget, so we prefer budgets no less than $5,000 a month. But $3,000 is what you can start with on Google Ads, Facebook ads. You can start with less, of course, but it's going to take longer to figure out what's working for you and what's not. We can get you there probably 85% of the way just by going through this video and setting up the campaigns the way we say to set them up. But every location is going to be different. Your clients are a little different than the ones in Boston, which are a little different than the ones in California. I know in the South, so Tennessee, they use package units and have ductwork going outside to the package units. It's a little different than what we use around here, which is heat pumps, furnaces, boilers. We kind of use a mix of everything around here. We use some package units outside, some rooftop units as well. But it's really a mix of what you're selling in your area and how that client likes to be sold to. Boilers, I know you sell a boiler a little differently than you sell a mini split, but everything you have different. You sell them kind of the same way, but you have different comparisons. You have different things you say in your advertising. You have different things you say on the sales call. So everything works a little different in your area. And to figure that out with your advertising, you need at least a $3,000 budget. Anything less than that, you're not going to spend enough to figure out fast enough to make it effective for you. You can make it effective over the long term, but to make it effective for you within 30, 60, 90 days, $3,000 of budget is probably going to be needed to do that correctly. And then patience. Not everything works immediately, especially even for us, especially for people who are doing this themselves. You could get your targeting wrong. You could get there's plenty of things you could get wrong every step of the way. But even for us, we don't get things 100% correctly immediately. I'll even show you one of our campaigns in, so this is a client of ours. In February, we're not looking so hot for the lead generation. Unfortunately, we changed a decent amount of stuff, or we actually changed a decent amount of stuff. They wanted more qualified leads because their sales team couldn't follow up with them. So last month, our average lead costs for this particular client was, I think it was around $40 for Facebook. And for Google Ads, they didn't have any landing pages in place. So we had to build those. We weren't advertising on Google very much, but we had about 30 leads out of $2,000 spent, so about $80 or so, which is pretty good for Google. And let's see what our advertising cost was. So for this was last month. Last month, we'll see the results. Give me a sec. So last month, we knocked it out of the park, $45 per lead. And this is ductless leads, tankless leads. Ductless leads were about, I see on average $45. Tankless leads were about, I can't actually see which one is which. Ductless leads were probably somewhere in the $50 range. Tankless leads were probably in the $30 range. Tankless installations lead to about $3,700 sale. Ductless installations lead to about a $7,900 sale on average. That's based on $24 million of, and data going after sales data. Spent about $6,000 on Facebook last month for this client. Got 134 leads in, just from lead forms. This is not people reaching out Messenger, people responding to comments, people calling up the business. That's a big thing too. So $45 per lead from lead forms, people entering their name, email, phone number, and zip code, and then sending it out to the business. At the end of the month, he said he had too many leads, or he didn't say he had too many leads. He said basically his team in a specific location couldn't get a hold of the leads, meaning I know they called him up probably one time and never again. So we put in place this month name, email, phone numbers, zip code, and address, and then they had to confirm the address, and that drove the lead cost tremendously to about $130 per lead. So we're trying to drive that down now. So we're scaling or dialing back. He needs more leads in for his sales team, so we're dialing back things we did at the end of the month. So probably the 25th, 26th is when all the majority of our leads were generated, and then after that, it tailed off tremendously because we had a follow-up call and said, hey, how's everything going? How's the lead quality, quote unquote? So I say that in quotes because I used to close the leads. I know how these leads are. And my booking ratio is about 45% of Facebook. So I know it can be done. It's just, are they putting in the work to do that? I know for a fact, no. So, I try to dial it in for them. And say, okay, well, if you want them to book a time on your schedule, we can do that as well, but it's still going to drive the lead cost up. If you want them to give you your address so you can get more qualified people in who are looking for immediate people, sell immediately, we can do that as well, but it's still going to drive your lead cost up. So you can see here, $230 for this lead, $116 for this lead, $30 for this lead. So we're doing our best over time, over this month, to optimize the campaign for a lower lead cost. Our lead costs, we try to get them down to, everything's based on a budget here. So we try to get them down to about $90 for ductless installs, $40 for tankless, and all the rest of them are there. So that's our target cost per lead. And we can do that. I know we can, but you're really sacrificing. I'd rather get volume in and have your sales team do the work than to sacrifice volume and still your sales team still has to do the work. So it's the same amount of work either way. So you got to follow up with the people. You still got to call them. You get still, if they don't pick up immediately, you still got to call them again. You still got to follow up. So I'd rather get the volume in and have more for my sales team to do than to have quality and then your sales team is still not booking them, which is the problem now. So the sales team is still not booking them, even though people are scheduling a time, even though they're giving their address and saying, yes, I want this, and they're confirming on Facebook. So there's a review process for this specific lead form. It says, yes, I mean to submit this lead to you. Even though they're doing all that, still, I know what their sales team is doing. They're calling one time, and if they don't pick up on the first ring, they're never following up again. So patience is what you need. And I know that from experience. We have a dialed in. I have a dialed in sales process when I worked there on, what the first text was, what the second text was, when we send it out, when the first call, when the second call, when we send out an email after the text. What do we do as soon as they book a lead in? Or what do we do as soon as they actually book the estimate? What do we do if the estimate's a no-show? What do we do if they don't pick up the phone we call? What do we do if we respond to them after they responded to us and then never respond again? What do we do after the sales, after the design consultation? All that type of stuff I've worked at over the last 2 years that I know is not happening now, unfortunately. Well, I wish it was, but I know if you're telling me the lead quality is bad, that might be the case, but I gave Facebook your sales data. I told these people to schedule a time on your calendar. I made them confirm it before they submitted it to you. So there's only so much you can do. And these are exclusive leads. It's not like you're sharing them with anybody from HomeAdvisor or whatever, but if you're not following up with them and they forget that they did it, if you're not following up with them for a day, 2 days, 3 days, they're going to forget that they submitted a lead to you, even if they have a time booked, because you're not sending out if they have a time booked, I'd send out a calendar invite. I'd send out a calendar confirmation. I'd send out a text to remind them the day before. I'd send out a text to remind them half an hour before, an hour before. There's plenty of things you can do to get these people back into your funnel. But I know the sales team isn't doing that, so patience is what you need. So things you're going to need for Google and Facebook to make this work effectively. You can do this all manually, but it's good to have some type of automation in place. Zapier is what we're going to use. Zapier is going to connect everything together. So your CRM with your emails, with your texts, with your Facebook campaigns, with the Google campaigns, with your lead form campaigns on Google Ads, everything's going to be connected through Zapier. It's going to be the main hub of everything online that you're doing. ClickSend. ClickSend is going to send out texts to the leads. Texting is going to be one of the main ways you're going to get in contact with people immediately. You can do everything over email if you want to, but texting is going to be, I saw a higher, I don't know the exact number, but I know for sure that people confirm more over text than they did email when I was working as a designer. So ClickSend is the thing we like to use, or the application we like to use, because they have a good mobile app. Also, they have a good interface with Zapier, and I like it the best. CRM. This is slightly optional. I didn't really use a CRM. I used the Google Sheet, which was my CRM at the time. But the CRM is imperative to track everything, especially all the leads coming in. I usually use Google Sheets for this because I'm a little bit old school, and I like to make sure everything is, I like to do things that don't scale initially. And I didn't have a sales team. I didn't have a good sales team under me that used a CRM as well. So, you want to have, if you have a sales team, CRM is going to be necessary. It was only me, so I used Google Sheets, and I, went through everything manually every single day because I was the designer for 2 years. So CRM is going to be necessary, especially if you have more than one designer. It's going to be necessary to track your leads, track your estimates, all the good stuff. And an email client, we prefer Gmail, but you can use any autoresponder if you want to. Everything connects through Zapier for the most part. But you're going to want to be able to send out emails to people initially when they submit, not marketing emails, but emails confirming that they submitted a lead to you initially. So Zapier does that with Google. There's a native plugin through Zapier with Google. So you prefer to use Gmail as our client. You can sign up for G Suite for Business. I think it might be $6 a month per email. And that's what we typically use. We typically recommend. But whatever your email service, you can send out marketing emails and confirmation emails through Zapier from your email client. It just takes a little more work. And if you have an autoresponder, it's a little easier because you can just set up in most autoresponders, you can set up an automatic. If something comes in as tagged, it can automatically do this, that. But Gmail's preferable. Now, continual testing, campaign testing is going to be imperative, especially because you're going to be starting from scratch. Or if you're not, and you're not campaign testing, it's going to get you better results. Keyword testing is going to be imperative as well, especially on Google. I'll give you a stat from last September, the month I left. We spent $2,300 on Google Ads, got back $91,000 back in revenue, just because we tested all of our keywords. Over time, testing all our keywords, it led to outsized results because we can spend a little bit of money, get a lot of results, and that only comes by spending a lot of money up front. So I think our Google Ads budget was about $8,000 every month for a long time. And then it was whittled down during coronavirus, and whittled down by other reasons. They wouldn't spend more money on billboards, etc. But $2,300 led to $91,000 back in revenue. If they kept that up, they should have got outsized returns. But I don't see they did. They switched companies a bunch of times. Landing page testing. It's important because you don't know what works for the people that you want it to work for. So unless you have the magic bullet to landing pages and you know exactly what works, you're going to need to test out your landing pages over and over and over again and continue to optimize. And tools to help you improve your advertising is Hotjar. Hotjar is going to record your screens in your landing pages so you know what people are doing on your website. Google Optimize is going to let you test out different versions of the landing page that you want. So you can test out a single column versus double column. Typically, we stick with that one first so we know which type of client we want like in. Usually, older people like single column, younger people like double column. You got to know who you're selling to. And then you can test out headlines, copy, all the type of stuff with Google Optimize. And you can even use your website as a landing page with Google Optimize. Just get rid of the header in the menu bar and the footer. AnyWord is a AI copywriting service, and I use it a ton now. I didn't use it before because, I didn't have the time to, but AnyWord is going to help you figure out what ad creative works for you. What text going to work. It's text-based, so it's going to show you what keywords you can use, or my fault, it's going to help you optimize everything from Google Ads campaigns, Facebook campaigns, copy on your websites, everything. AnyWord's great, and I like the data-driven optimization feature that they have better than Jarvis.ai. I use Jarvis.ai to write blog posts before, but I'm going to use AnyWord from now on because I like their software a little better. And Jarvis was $120 or so when I initially bought them. I bought the Boss plan back in September 2021. I've used it ever since, and then found AnyWord, and AnyWord does the same thing except it gives me a score, and I've been testing out if that score actually means anything with our ads, and I like it pretty good. So let's go through everything. This is a lead follow-up process. We're going to talk about that in a little bit. This is the sales follow-up process. We're going to talk about that in a little bit as well. This is going to be the process you sell your services for in the after you get a lead in, after you get the estimate scheduled. After that, this is how you sell them. And this is going to be initially to bring in the lead to get them to book the entire follow-up process. So you can see that we have a ton of stuff here, from everything in the first day to the second day to the third day to the 14th to the 28th day, following up with people to get them to book an estimate. And believe me, it's necessary, especially if you want to do a good job for your sales team and make your leads work as hard as you possibly can. So I'm going to move this to the end. I'm going to move this to the middle after everything's done. And we're going to walk through initially what you need. So you're going to need an advertising directory. You're going to need to know exactly how much your average value is for the service you want to advertise. Typically, we like to stick with advertising specific services and not everything at the same time. But if you want to advertise the specific services, you can use our advertising directory. We have, like I said, $24 million worth of sales data in here to get these averages. And you're going to be able to figure out what your booking ratio, you need to know your booking ratio and closing ratios, what they are. You don't have to know the exact number if you don't track them, but start tracking them. You can use about a third, usually about a third and a third is what people typically get on their booking and closing ratios. because they're not following up their leads. So a third and a third is kind of what you can stick with. This is going to be a lead value of your leads in. This is important to tell Google Analytics and Google Ads what the lead value is for you so they can optimize for that. So Google Ads is an optimization engine. They use machine learning on your ads to figure out how to optimize your ads better. And giving them a lead value is always important to tell them what it's worth to you. Target cost per click is going to be exactly what it is. If you're spending 12% of your marketing budget on your ads, that's going to be your target cost per click. So this changes depending on your advertising budget. What it is based on your revenue. 8% you're going to need a $60 cost per lead for this specific service. Usually somewhere around 10 to 12% is what we see for contractors, and they can give them a little cushion on their cost per lead. The lower your cost per lead, the less you can spend on advertising. Usually the less effective your advertising is going to be. The more you can spend, usually the more effective it's going to be, especially if you're advertising for installs. And the reason we like installs over services is, if you can see here, you get to make services work immediately, and you have to have it effectively. A lot of times, if you don't have a continual like a maintenance plan, something that gets them to buy from you more frequently, more often, to get them to upsell into an install, advertising for service is not going to work for you, especially if you don't have a dialed-in sales process. That's imperative for you to dial in your services. This is the average value of an initial consultation for service. So if you know the average value of a service client over 10 years, or how long they stay with you, and the lifetime value of that service client, you can put that in here yourself. But this is initially, what I've seen is companies initially have, an initial value, but they never have a continuance value. They don't know their numbers on the back end of how many people come back over and over and over again. They don't actually do that hard analysis. So we have to go with the initial value of the client, because you don't want to blow out your marketing budget on service leads and then never make any money. That's how you go out of business quick. So that's why we like to stick to installs, because quite frankly, it makes you more money. It makes us look good. You don't get 11 times average returns on your ad spend if you're doing services without knowing your numbers, or installs without knowing how to advertise. You can advertise for installs all day. If you get $200 leads, I know that you're not going to be profitable just from your closing ratio and booking ratio. Typically, you're not going to be profitable if you have a 60% booking ratio and a 50% closing ratio. You can make almost anything work, but most companies are 30 and 30. So I like to make sure that we can make their advertising work for them. And the bid here is for your Google search ads. This is going to tell you how much to bid on those keywords relating to that, what the average bid is, or the average bid should be for the keywords relating to that service. Now, obviously, this is not going to be the average bid. I'll show you how to calculate that in a little bit. But this is what the average bid should be in that campaign for that service. So you want to stick to something around there to make your ads profitable, because typically a landing page is going to have about a 10% conversion rate if you're doing it well. If you're not doing it well, this is based on a 10% conversion rate. You can just, this is a 5% conversion rate. 0.05 is 5% conversion rate. And you're going to have to bid a lot less. So the more effective you can be in your advertising, the higher your bids can be, the more you can make this work in your favor. All right. So just one stat for your advertising and why it's important to you. Google advertising for high commercial intent keyword searches. This is for Google specific. Typically, when people are looking to buy something, they go to Google to buy that thing. 2/3 of people looking to buy anything online turn to Google, search for it, and buy it from those high intent keywords. So I know organic is, the holy grail of advertisers for, of our clients, because they don't want to spend anything on advertising. But if you're in business like me, you're going to be spending money on advertising. Think of it as an investment in your business and how you can maximize your investment in your business. And, the return on ad spend is going to be the maximization of your investment. For you, if you're spending 12% of your budget, you need to 8 times ROAS up front to make these ads profitable. On the back end, you don't. On the back end, if you know you can convert these installs into a maintenance plan and your maintenance plans run 10 years initially, that's an extra $2,000 in your pocket. Your ROAS can be smaller on the front end, but I don't like to budget that way for our clients, because I know that I've run a business, I've run an HVAC company for 2 years. That typically doesn't happen. Most people, we didn't have a dialed-in sales process to do that, and I know most companies don't. So if you do, you can spend more or make more, and if you don't, you have to spend less. So the tools you're going to need: Tag Manager. Tag Manager is going to house everything for your tags, your Google Analytics, your Google Remarketing tags, your conversion tags. All the good stuff is going to be housed in Tag Manager. I'm not going to show you how to set it up. This is not a tutorial for that. This is just to show you the things you need for your advertising. There are Tag Manager tutorials you can go look for to tell you how to set everything up. But the basics are: you install your header, install in the body, and then install all the tags inside here. Google Analytics is what you're going to need. You're going to need this for your website to track everything going on. Most of the landing page builders are going to have analytics themselves, but we like to make sure our data is correct. Google Analytics is going to show us that. We don't trust Google Analytics, so I use things like Quantcast, Heap. I use 4 or 5 different analytic platforms to make sure I have the full picture of what's going on the website. But Google Analytics is the bare minimum that you need to make sure your advertising is working. And then a Google Ads account. The majority of your advertising is going to be on Google. We can do the majority of it on Facebook for estimates, but high intent keywords are going to be the bread and butter. Like I said, there was no time that I've gotten anybody 40x return on Facebook, but there was a time it's not uncommon to get 40x return for campaigns from Google. So typically we like Google better than Facebook. Facebook is definitely a tool you can use, but expect lower return on ad spend. Expect about 15, I'd say 20 at the highest. If you're everything spot on, you're doing everything that you need to do. Google, you can get 40 times return on ad spend if you're doing everything correctly. 40 to 50 is kind of the high end. The low end, you can expect about 5 to 10 times return on ad spend. So typically Google's a little better, especially for contractors, because getting a dialed-in sales process, you're going to need a dialed-in sales process for Facebook. You don't necessarily need a superstar sales process for Google, but for Facebook you will. So Facebook is more for if you need to fill multiple salespeople's time with qualified leads. You can get a ton of them on Facebook, a lot more than you can on Google, because the cost per clicks or cost per leads are typically lower. They're usually about half to a third. But a Google account is what we're going to start out with. So sign up for a Google account, ads.google.com, sign up for that. And the first thing we're going to work on is getting the keywords in place. So keywords are going to be what you're bidding on. So you're going to try to figure out the highest intent keywords you possibly can for the service that you offer. So what you're going to do first is go into discover keywords, and let's stick with a mini split estimate because I know that back and forth. So mini split installation. We're going to do that keyword first and then get results. So that's going to be our initial thought on what the highest intent possible we can possibly imagine for that person, for that service. And then up top, make sure you go in here and figure out what your location is. You don't want to do the whole United States. You want to do it based on your location, so you can do the area in your location. Let's do Dallas, Texas first. And unfortunately here, they don't have radius targeting inside the location. Maybe I'm wrong. Let's see. Let's do my address. Let's do, yeah. There we go. Let's see if they have my address in here. And I don't think they are going to. So, nope. So what you're going to do, you can do radius targeting inside your campaigns, but for keyword planning, you can't really do that. So you're going to do the major city that you're in. You can do the county, you can do the city, you can do the demographic DMA, the demographic marketable area or something like that, whatever you want to do. But make sure you stick with at least the city that you're in. And you're going to see the keywords in your area. So you can see here that mini split installation gets about 30 searches a month, and it tapers up from the January to about probably June. Yep, June, the highest search volume. So you know you're going to be able to see fluctuations in your ad spend on specific keywords based on this. So a lot of times what we're going to do is go inside here and put in the keywords that we like. So mini split AC installation is kind of the same thing. Mini split installation cost. So all these keywords that have installation in them, we're going to want to filter in to a one campaign. So keyword, it's going to be contains installation. And we're going to do a text match right now instead of semantic match. Semantic match is going to get us install, installation, installer, that type of thing. We want to do the exact match to see if we have enough keywords to build out a campaign around. So in this area that looks like we do, we have a decent amount actually, a lot actually. Okay, so then we're going to take out manufacturer keywords. So first we're going to narrow down our keywords that we want, installation keywords that we want. Then we're going to exclude branded terms. We're going to take out Mitsubishi, Mr. Cool, Pioneer, and you can do branded campaigns, especially if you have a co-op in your area. I know Mitsubishi co-op is great, a third, but we're not going to build a campaign around them right now. We're going to build a campaign around the keywords, the broad keywords, and then we're going to narrow in to branded keywords later on, because you're going to need landing page specific to those keywords. If you want to qualify for the co-op in your area, you're going to need a lot of things for branded campaigns. So we're going to stick with regular broad keywords for now. And I love my branded keywords, don't get me wrong. Especially, I have a soft spot for Mitsubishi because they give you money for advertising with them. Definitely love branded keywords, but like I said, we're going to build a keyword campaign around installation keywords only for right now. So I excluded everything, all the brands, we're going to exclude them. So now we're going to see how many keywords we have. So we have about 260 keywords, and we should average about 220 searches or impressions on our ads every month for this keywords, for the installation. So this is a good campaign because these are going to be high intent keywords, and they're going to be pretty costly for the most part. So you can see here, top page bid, low page range, low range is $9, top it's going to be $50, and I'll show you how to get those numbers way down. So we're going to bid near the lower page range, but typically when we're bidding, we're going to want to average out the two bids. So we're going to take these two, multiply both of them add them together, then divide them by 2 to get the actual middle of the range bid. That's what we're going to use for our enhanced cost per click bids. And you can see a lot of these, most people aren't bidding on because they don't have any bid data here. So that's good for us. These are high intent, low traffic keywords that we're going to want for installation campaigns. And we're going to stick these inside. So what we're going to do is we're going to download all these. So where's the download button? Here we go, wrong one. So we're going to download, we're going to take all the, so I'm going to want all of this stuff. I don't want the organic impression share, I don't really care. Average position, I don't really care about that. So that's going to be cool. So our columns are set. Now we're going to download this campaign into Google Sheets, and then we're going to narrow down which keywords we're going to use inside this campaign. So I'm going to show you how to do this here. So we're going to take this keyword stats, is going to be ductless installations, Feb 2022, Google ads. So I like to make sure that I know exactly what this is for. Google search ads. And we're going to use these keywords in multiple ways. So this is how you Google search ads, installations, February 2021, download. So download is going to take a little bit, but it's going to open up in Google Sheets, and we're going to show you what a campaign fully built out looks like. So we're going to open this up. And then all we're really going to do inside this campaign right now is we're going to look at the keywords, and we're going to look at we're going to get the average cost per click we're going to bid on. So this is actually really good data for us. So we're going to see what we're going to expect at the end of the month. So 10 means an average of 10. Usually we like to go 10 and above, especially for local targeting. And keep in mind that these are going to be both exact match and phrase match and broad match keywords. So these are going to be, this is just an estimate. We're going to get a lot more than this. Initially, this is Google's estimate on what we should expect. So here we go. All right, we're going to go at the bottom here. So I'm going to make sure that we know what we're going to get. Take this. Oops. C4 to C263. So that is the total amount of traffic we can expect from this Google Ads campaign to this specific landing page. It says 0 there. Why is that? I started at 4. Oh, because nothing is in numbers. Okay. So we're going to go down here. Everything has an apostrophe. Nothing is an actual number. So we're going to make these all numbers. All right. Numbers. All right. So Google is telling me about 1,000 searches for these keywords. So that's pretty good. 1,000 searches is all right. Then we're going to do average. This is not scientific and it's not how you do this, but just for an example, average competitor. Wow, we got that 0 everywhere. 0. All right. 0. 0. If you average everything into 0, you get 0, so this is not how it's going to work. So I'm not even going to bother with this. I don't really care about the averages anyway, because we're going to be better than the averages. And the only costs that I see here are these two keywords, ductless installation cost and ductless installation. So those are the only two that I see here with any bids on them. So that's a good thing for me. I want to know what the average is of these two. Come on. Whatever. This plus this divided by 2. That's not it because there has to be parentheses. Do it correctly. All right, $27 for this one and $9 for this one. So this is going to be our base target. I think our actual bid was around $9 anyway. So for all the keywords, we're going to stick with this bid, except the keyword that Google told us is going to be pretty expensive, mini split installation. We're probably going to stick with the top page bid here, then mark it up along the way. So what you want to do is, I know it's going to take a little work, but go through each of these keywords to see if they're actually something you want to bid on. Just so we have an example, multi-zone you might not want to bid on unless you have a landing page dedicated to multi-zone systems. Concealed duct systems is going to be a horizontal ducted or a air handler system. You don't know which one until you bid on it. So you're going to want a campaign built specifically around for that. So we want keywords in a group that we're going to use to bid on for a, I keep forgetting my thoughts, but keyword that we're going to use to bid on in a group. So what I'm going to do is what I typically do every single time. I'll take these two and I'm going to format down to here, because as of right now, I usually put this on the top row, but for now I can't do that because the little bars up there. So the first two rows, shoot. Okay. Anyway, so I'm going to take these keywords and I'm going to, take in a couple things. Installation. So I see everything has installation, so that's not a good thing to do. All right, mini split. So we're going to make sure that all these mini split keywords are the same. They are not. The first couple are going to be good. So this is going to be pretty much the same campaign. I'm going to group this. So I'm going to have a mini split AC campaign. Then I'm going to have a mini split installation campaign. So then I can see the keyword groupings in my mind, breaking them out. So mini split AC. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to narrow that down. So this is going to be one campaign. These are going to be, all right, so we have 15 keywords here. So that we want to stay under about 20 for each campaign. So we're going to take these 20, let's see, install mini split AC, cassette. So we're not going to do cassette. So we're going to exclude that. Cassette, take that out. We're going to heat pump. Okay, we can do that. Heat pump is kind of its own thing. So all these look basically the same, and we're going to get really good clicks on our ads if we take this. So I'm going to take these keywords and show you the next step. So once you do this, take these and put them into forecasting. Forecasting is a little different than keyword ideas. These are just getting ideas for your keywords, and this is actually forecasting for your bids. You're not going to use Google's forecast, but it's good to know what you should expect inside your bids. Forecast, keyword group. All right, and the reason I do this is so I can see the analytics behind these keywords that Google thinks I should use. And it's always good to get a barometer of what Google thinks. So 71 clicks, 2,000 impressions, $160 cost total, so that's pretty good. So they think these keywords are pretty good. 2,000 impressions, I like that. Cost per click is $2.19. That's going to be nowhere near. Actually, this is the whole United States, so we're going to do Dallas, my fault. Dallas. All right, Dallas, Texas. We're going to make sure everything is the same. This is just the area. You can do the DMA of Dallas, but we're not going to do that. We want just the Texas area. 130 searches, 6 clicks. Okay, that's pretty decent. Click-through rate, I like that a lot. $28 cost per click, which is high. So this is actually not going to be close, and they're going to show you that some of your keywords are not going to spend any money. But I like to download this anyway, so I can see the campaigns. And I usually build out an entire all the keywords in here for the forecast, and then build out the forecast, and then export the forecast into something I like to call a campaign planner. So this is going to be a campaign planner. This is going to be all the keywords in this campaign and what we're going to bid on. So there's 192 campaigns for mini split. This is Mitsubishi mini splits, actually. So we're going even narrower, Mitsubishi mini splits. 190 keywords for that. This is a pre-built one. So the historical data. This is going to be what you got from your keyword ideas. So it shows you historical data for there. This is going to be all your keyword ideas, put it into historical data. And we're going to want to narrow that down so we can see pretty much what we're looking at for these keywords. So 1,900 impressions a month. Then our forecast data, like to take a look at that as well, because just like to get a sense of what Google thinks versus what actually happened. Not necessary, but I like it just to see. So for this campaign total, they expected us to spend about $1,700, get about 40. So for this Mitsubishi campaign specifically, about 50,000 impressions. Click-through ratio is about 3%. Average cost per, what is this? Average cost per click is $1. And then I like to project how much revenue is coming in from these campaigns. So conversion rate's about 3% for all their clicks. Value for a lead is going to be about $500, and we do this based on how much we spend times our booking ratio times the average value of a client. So this is going to be, it's not 45. I did this based on single zone, so $4,500 for a single zone. This is going to be total, so $7,900 for multi-zone. So our average value of a lead is about $1,000 for this campaign. And then average conversion, so that amount of leads coming in, about 55 leads coming in. And then average cost per acquisition for the lead is $32. Conversions, we should see around $55,000 worth of revenue from this campaign and about a 33 times ROAS if everything's optimized correctly. So this is the goal, the target we're going to get to for this campaign is 31 times ROAS for this one campaign. And we build out all our campaigns that way to make sure we have a target set for our clients. I know you're not going to give us this target, but we're going to have a target set for our clients to make sure we're hitting their targets, and we have higher expectations than you do. So that's what the forecast does for us. We like to make sure this is set conservatively. So, $4,500 conservative for our client. So we're going to tell them the expectation is 17 times return on ad spend for this campaign. And so that's the goal that we set for them. For ourselves, we set a higher goal. We know that our averages are higher than this. So we set an internal goal of basically twice what we give you. So that's how we set our goals. And then I like to make sure that the ads are working. So inside the campaign planner, we have the ad report. These are all the ads that we built for this campaign for all the keywords. This is just all the headlines, the copy. We like to see what's working, what's not. So at the end of every month, we download the campaign, upload it here to make sure to see which headline's working the best, so we can use that and build on that for later. Same thing you should do for yourself. And then the negative keywords is going to be important for you, especially starting out. You're going to need a big negative keyword list, and then you're going to need to exclude your keywords from each other. So you build out ad groups. We have ad group number 1, 2, 3, all the way to 15 ad groups. I think this one has 15 ad groups or so. And we have the keyword list for this ad group. So everything is built around the intent of this ad group. Single keyword ad groups work really well, but especially if you're doing anything of volume, if you're spending any type of money, you're going to have, at one point we've had 500, 600 keyword ad groups, which is insane to manage. So instead of doing, we still like single keyword ad groups and they work really well. We use them strategically now. I used to do that, 4 or 5 years ago. We used to use single keyword ad groups for everything to get our cost per click down, get everything up, and it worked really well because you can target really, really specifically. But now you can do the same specific advertising if you use single intent keyword ad groups. So everything's built around, this one is built around the cost and the price of installing a mini split system. So everything has mini split Mitsubishi AC unit inside this keyword, and everything is built around that. The landing page talks about mini split AC units. All the ads talk about mini split AC units. So all the keywords talk about that as well. We would do this a little differently. I think I have a cost in here as well. So I have a cost and installation keyword group. And these are just the ones that didn't fit inside that keyword group. So I put them into another group, but typically like to see all the installation keywords in one group, all the installation costs in another group, installation price in another group. So there are different nuances to your keywords and how you want to structure them. But think about the intent of the searcher when they're searching. And you can even take a look at it. So in your area, take a look at some of the keywords that you have. So the biggest keyword I recommend you take a look at. So it'd be Dallas, Texas. So mini split AC installation. Mini split installation is going to be the biggest keyword. What's the intent? Are they looking for mini split installations near them? What are they looking for near them? So here's a mini split installation. This is a video. Google's showing them a ton of videos of how to install a mini split. How much does it cost? Can you install a mini split by yourself? So this might not be the highest intent keyword possible because you see a ton of DIY stuff here, and then you see a ton of how much does it cost, can you do it yourself? So this is more informational keyword, but we're still going to bid on it because it's going to lead us down the train of getting higher and higher intent keywords. So we have one big main keyword that we use is basically a phrase match keyword to find all the other smaller long tail keywords later on. And that's what the testing over and over and over again, that's how you get to 40 times return on ad spend by continually iterating on your keywords. So HVAC contractors, we see that here. How to install, how to install, how to install. So this is more of an informational keyword. What the cost is, how to install, how to install. So this is a DIY keyword all the way. We're still going to use it in our campaign because it gets the most searches, but we're going to use it strategically. You're going to make sure that you have something about how to install it on the landing page, how you install it on the landing page, the average cost of installing on the landing page, and then reaching out to you to get it installed. So that's kind of the framework of how you can take DIY keywords, informational keywords, and use them to push people down to a transactional keyword. So use what Google gives you. Look up the keyword. If you're not sure about the intent on it, or you want to see the main intent around the big keyword in that ad group, look at what Google gives you and then use that to your advantage. You want to have some of that, what Google gives you, because it's ranking organically for something. You want to have some of that organic stuff on your landing page so you can convert higher. And I would test that versus just a regular get an estimate landing page. So that's one way to see what the intent is behind the keywords. So for this, I put everything, so you can see the formula here. We're going to put brackets around everything because we want to exclude the exact match of each of our keywords from each of the other keyword ad groups inside our campaign. So this is the keyword research stage of Google search ads. Now you want to build a landing page. So landing page is going to be important. If you don't have one now, you can use your main website, but use a template of some kind to build your landing page around, then test on top of that. You don't want to use this as the holy grail of landing pages because, like I said, things work differently in different areas. So use a template that has been proven to work at least most of the time. So it has at least a 5%, 10% conversion ratio. Then you're not going to get the same conversion ratio because their thought process of building this landing page is different than yours. More than likely, you have a different company, you have a different feel to your company. Everything is built differently for each company, but you want to test on top of that. And typically, there are themes that walk around a landing page that are pretty much the same. It's just the wording and how the thought process in your customer's mind initially is different for each company. So your company has a different feel than other companies. This one works pretty well. This one usually converts around 7 to 8%. So big headline, form here, big headline, more validation, form here, testimonial below the headline or below the form. So that's the headshot, I like to call it. Then the value bars, why this should go with us, affordable payment plans. We should actually make this more specific. 0% financing for however many months, 12-year parts and labor warranty, 94% of the jobs completed on time. So this is just, like I said, this is informational, a little bit of information about mini splits. And then this is testimonials. I like showing people where you've serviced in the past, like a big list right like this. This works really well as well, but having people, actual system installations work tremendously. So this system was installed at Jim's house. Jim gave us this testimonial. Those are the type of testimonials you want. And then another form. And that's pretty much it. You don't want to make this too complicated. You can put all the fancy things on it, but simpler landing pages usually work the best. So test that out for yourself. So now we're ready to build a campaign inside of a Google Ads account. So this is our personal or company Google Ads account where we just started advertising for ourselves. So we're going to walk you through a campaign and how it's usually structured. So we're going to click on campaigns, and I like to make sure I work from not the simplified version of Google Ads. I like to make sure I work from, they call it the advanced one right now, but that's not good. So I'll take a look at that later. But I like to make sure I work from the advanced Google Ads manager because I like to get all the targeting correct. So click the plus button right here, new campaign. Can you feel it tinkling in your fingers where you put a campaign up to get everything rolling? So you want sales, leads, website traffic. You're going to stick to these three mainly. The other ones, but mainly what you're going to stick to is leads. And why leads is because Google is going to optimize for what you want and what you give them. So you're going to need the campaign, you're going to need the conversions tracking set up correctly. You're going to need to import it into Google Analytics or Google Ads, and I'll show you how to do that from Google Analytics. So I like to build goals inside Google Analytics and import them in because I like to make sure everything's done in Analytics as well. But I also build out campaign tracking inside Google Analytics specifically, so it works in real time. Google Analytics takes a little bit of time to push into Google. I think about a day or so. I know it's not immediate. I think it takes about a day to push into Google Analytics, or Google Analytics to push into Google Ads. So you build out Google Ads tracking so you can get real-time data into your campaign. So leads initially, search. We're going to build out a search campaign right now. You can build out any type of campaign. This works for everything. So a search campaign, we're going to tell Google what we want. Phone calls and lead forms. So you're going to need to add a lead form. You're going to need to add your phone number in here. They're going to verify it as well. They're going to verify the lead form as well. But as of right now, we're not going to do that because these are extensions to your Google Ads. We're going to do a simplified campaign. Extensions come later. Extensions are necessary, but you're going to build them out. It's pretty simple to build, so you're going to build them out later. So we're going to continue and naming the campaign so you know exactly what it is. All right. Leave that. All right. So naming the campaign. This is going to be, so one service line at a time is our rule. You don't want to build everything inside one big campaign, especially because some service lines advertise a little more throughout the year. Your business is seasonal, so build out campaigns accordingly. Service lines, so meaning ductless installations, tankless installations, furnace installations, boiler installations, heat pump installations, package unit installations, whatever you want to build it out per service line for your business. So this is going to be, we're going to stick with the mini split installations. So mini split installations. So this is going to be 35 miles from our address. This is going to be a search campaign. Then we're going to optimize for leads. So we're optimizing for leads. That's kind of the naming template I like to use is the service line initially, then the location, then what type of campaign it is, then the leads. You can do this as, you can do it however you want. I like to do cold as well, so I can know this is a cold campaign, retargeting campaign, initially from the onset, looking inside the account. I want to be able to see what the account is doing when I first log in. And if you have everything built inside one, you can't do that. So we're not going to include search partners. We're not going to include display network. Google's going to give you all the traffic you need. Initially, that's fine. And you want to make sure your campaign is converting before you include search partners as well, because you're going to get a ton of traffic and you're going to get a ton of nonsense clicks initially because you don't have conversion set up. You don't have enough conversions in the account. Google doesn't know what you're optimizing for. So then you include those later once you have all that stuff to drive down your cost per clicks. But initially, you're not going to do that. So you're into a location. You're going to do the advanced search, you're going to do a radius search, and you're going to do your address for your business. Liberty Place, Towson, and however far you service, 25 miles is typically for bigger cities, 35 miles for more rural areas, 25 miles for us is around there, and that's all we're going to target for these campaigns. English speakers, we're going to keep that as well, and we're going to exclude, or we're going to include people in or regularly in, not who shown interest in. Sometimes that does work, but I want people who live in this location because we only service homeowners. People in excluded locations, so we're going to exclude locations later. See if we can do that now. We can, I guess we can. So typically, I like to do the zip codes that don't work the best to exclude them now. And you're going to know what zip codes you don't want to operate in. You are a service-based business and you have valuable things in your truck. So think about the trouble areas in your market where you know you're not going to sell installations. So if you know that, let's say 21244, it's a pretty good zip code for us. So I'm going to, but just for this example, we're going to exclude it because I know there are this is a very bad area in my city. There are plenty of places in that for your city. Just make sure you take a little time to think it through where you don't actually service in your city. But if you service everywhere, then just leave that blank. And a lot of times, I like to build in where I'm excluding, but also I like to target specific zip codes inside the campaign as well. The reason being is If you know exactly where you're selling the most systems, you can spend more money there. So I like to put in all the zip codes we service inside this campaign as well. That's just a personal preference of ours, but we're going to keep it like this. For example, I'm not going to give you all 150 zip codes that we service. Audience segments. So for now, we're going to leave this observation on. This is not going to actually segment the targeting. The targeting is going to need to be segmented for YouTube ads and display ads. But for now, observation is good. So air conditioning, and Google has a ton of data on everybody. So they just type in a keyword. So in segment, climate control and air quality. That sounds like something that you want to advertise to people who are looking for climate control and air quality systems. Okay. People, home improvement. Let's see, air conditioning installation. So you can see here the affinity group in market, people looking for plumbing services, people looking for remodeling services, roofing services, auto repair, maintenance services, electrical services, home improvement services. Air conditioning is not typically in here, but you can actually get it narrowed down, mini split to mini split specifically. Let's see if we can find it in here. A lot of times you can. Homeowners definitely. Renters definitely you want to see. Most of the time it's going to be homeowners. Anything you think is relevant to your business, just type in, you can spend a little time here. Ductless. I'm not going to spend too much time here. All right, so that takes care of that. And then let's say we can't find something. Air conditioning. My fault. If I can spell, it'd be dangerous. Installation. All right, so let's see. We can't find anything here. A lot of times on the very bottom here, you'll see create a custom segment. It's not letting me do it right here, but we can create a custom segment later on if we want to. For search terms, for this type of advertising, we usually don't need to. It's always nice to have it, but usually you don't need to. That takes care of that. Your budget. So your daily budget is going to be set by how much you plan on spending for your advertising. So go back to the advertising directory and see how much the ad calculator tells you how much you want to spend. So we want to have a service budget and install budget. Typically we like only install budget. So our install budget is going to be $8,000. So this takes into account all our spend. So this is going to be B20, which is going to be our Google Ads budget, times 80% of that is going towards installations. So this is going to be our 80% of our budget is going toward installation. So 80% of our total budget of $8,000, and then how much we want to spend on this service line. So if it's 100% on the service line, your daily budget is going to be $213. And you can do this. So it's just included here. If you want to spend that much, let's be more conservative. Let's say 3,500, 80% of that. So it's 3,600. Let's say we want to spend $3,000 this month on Google Ads for installations. All right, so you're going to need about $100 budget for this service line. So make this based on what you plan on spending. Let's go back here. All right, so we're good to go. So whatever your budget is, put it inside Google here. $100 per day. All right, now bidding. I like manual bidding. The reason being is, especially if you're starting out, Google doesn't know how to optimize your account. So you're going to bid manually on CPC. So how you get to that is you go inside the bid strategies, you click on clicks, or let's see if I said it on here, or select the bid strategy directly, not recommended. We're going to break the rules here. Google likes to have, it's going to send you a bunch of stuff throughout the month of automatic bidding. Don't fall into the temptation. We do like enhanced cost per click, but manual bidding is what you want to stick to. You can do enhanced cost per click. Don't do it initially, but just leave it on initially. It's not going to spend way above and beyond your cost per click, but it will spend a little more. So enhanced cost per click is okay. But manual is what you want to start with. If you don't want enhanced cost per click, turn it off, but we like to stick with enhanced cost per click. So that's fine. More of the settings, let's see if we need any more here. Conversions. So this is optimizing for page view right now. We're going to leave this in for right now. We're going to build a conversion in and then have that optimized. We're going to put that in the campaign later. So we're going to leave this for now. And then best performing ads. Typically, I don't like to optimize for best performing ads because I like to test out my ad creative. But for you, you might not want that. Let me just think of why you wouldn't want that. Why wouldn't you want to optimize for ads, the best performing ads? I guess for you wouldn't, especially if you are doing this yourself and you don't think you do the best creative. I know some of us, especially myself, get tied to our past creative before that worked. So optimizing for best performing. So this isn't optimized for best performing right now. Site links, call extensions. You can do the site links later because these are going to need to be different than the page you're bidding on. So for us, we have different pages built out for this. This is going to be a really big part of your strategy later on. Is going to be site links going to different parts. They can advertise for one thing, but if you know more do-it-yourselfers are on this keyword, you can say, hey, you can have site links for almost anything. So think this through strategically, but you need a different landing page than you do for your advertising, or your site link is not going to show very often, if at all. So different landing pages go inside here. So site links are not going to be mandatory right now. We're going to need to get the account up and running. Site links can come later. Call extensions is what you want to do now. These are going to be just little text blurb underneath the ad, or inside the ad actually, that show you, what you're bid on. 11,724 happy customers, free estimates, consultations available, estimates 0%, 60-month financing. So this is fill the site, fill as many as you want. I recommend 4 at the very least, but fill out as many as you want pertaining to your offer in your business for this offer specifically. And then specialize in depth lists. You can do it there too. You can add more call site links, save them, and then your phone number. You're going to want to track this. This is going to be used in call reporting, calls from ads. So whatever your phone number is inside here, put it inside there. Click save to make sure that Google is showing your phone number underneath the ads. And typically that shows on mobile the majority of the time. It does show on desktop sometimes, but the majority of the time people are on mobile. They click it to go inside to give your business a call immediately. And I like to set up the conversion as they are on the phone for at least 60 seconds because you get a lot of looky-loos in, and you don't want to optimize for that, but you do want to optimize for actual people who talk to your business. So 60 seconds usually seems to be about the time when people are in the booking process. So save and continue. All right. So we're going to build one ad group initially, and then we're going to expand on that. So we're going to get the campaign up and running, and then we're going to do this. So I like to name the ad group mini split installation after the main keyword in that ad group. And this is going to be a phrase match campaign, phrase match. The default bid is going to be based on both the bid here, so the bid that you actually planned for, and if it matches Google's bid. So you can change the bid per keyword. So the initial bid is going to be what you planned for, but if we go back here, none of these have bids, so we're going to see all. So if you see here that this keyword is going to need a $28 bid, this one's going to need a $9 bid, so you can stick to about $9 for everything. And you're not going to always spend $9, but it's good to start where you planned. $8. Keywords, you're not going to need to pull them for your site. You already have your keywords built out already, so we're going to go back inside the keywords. Let's go back. These keywords are what we want for this campaign. This is going to be the, it's going to be the mini split AC campaign. So all these have mini split AC installations. See all those? We're going to make them phrase match. Phrase. I'm not going to bore you with that, but that's how you make them phrase match, phrase, and then the rest of them are going to be phrase. I can make them phrase match in here pretty easily, actually. Let's do it like this. Equals cont. Actually, I can't do it like that very easily. Do this. Oops. And then we're going to do each concatenate you by you by you. And now everything is going to be phrase match. This is going to be D2 is going to be constant, and then A6 is going to change. So we're going to do 10 different keywords. Boom. So all these are going to be phrase match inside here. All right, we're not going to do new ad groups yet. So we're going to do this one. We're going to build one, and then you're going to expand the same way you do this one into other ad groups. And then Google's making sure everything's responsive ads now, so you're going to build an initial responsive ad. Fill this out completely. Make sure your ad strength is pretty good. I know ad strength isn't the end-all be-all, but it does improve your cost per click that Google gives you initially. So the big thing here is you want to get at least the keyword in some of your ads headline 6 times or so. So you have a bunch of keywords to choose from. Pick the ones that work the best and that relate to everything. So mini split installation. And don't overthink this. Cost estimate quote. And yes, sometimes things will show up that are repeating, but that is okay. Google will optimize that out. Get your mini split installed. Get a mini split install quote. So you can see here, just building these out. Doesn't need to be anything special. Install near me. So let's see what else we need. Like near me, and then we'd like to talk about some of the brands. So this is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. One more of these. Want a mini split installed. All right, so we built out that, and we're going to do greatest installers ever. Something about your reviews, 500 5-star reviews. And I'll show you how to make these better later. But we're going to keep building them out till you get to 15. And then your description is going to show you this is going to be the landing page, and make sure this is the actual landing page. you're going to want a UTM parameter inside here, inside the final URL, because you're going to have fraud prevention on your account. So make sure you have a UTM parameter built inside the final URL. You can, search UTM builder, and it'll show you how to build a UTM. Basically, it is campaign, keyword, campaign keyword, placement. I like the top of page or whatever it is. So you can see here that we have campaign, medium, source, and then content. So content is going to be your keyword, and then whatever else you want to track. But those are usually the big ones. You want to track the ads that work. So you can check the responsive ad ID that works. You don't really need to do that. Google will show you inside your analytics, inside your dashboard, which one works and which one doesn't. Looking for a mini, and just make this simple. You're going to want to test these later. Your quote from the best installer in Dallas. So this is relating to Dallas. So everything's going to Dallas. So you want your city in here somewhere, so you know you're calling out that team. We provide it's 0% financing on your mini split installation. And then you can build this out. Make sure you have all the descriptions filled out, all that filled out. You want different phrases, different things. The ads are going to work together, so make sure they can somewhat make sense together, but still operate independently, because you never know which one is Google's going to use for each one. So build out a full campaign. Make sure ad strength is the least good, and then you're going to save and continue. And now you have a fully functioning campaign. So your campaign built out from start to finish. Publish campaign. It's built out from start to finish. You're going to expand on this a little more by putting in new campaigns, because this campaign is not going to, it's definitely not going to spend all the money that you want for this specific service line. So you're going to look at ad groups. So then, once you have this done, build out all your campaigns accordingly. Ad groups should have different cost per clicks. What I like to do, so I don't have to replicate everything. Copy. So Control C, and paste it. Because the ads typically are around the same thing, or just different wording inside the ads. So instead of creating new ads for everything all the time, I like to use the ads we have built out. And we usually use 2 to 3 responsive ads inside each ad group. Reason being is because I like to make a lot of variations, a lot of testing at one time. I know that's not typically ideal, but you don't want to be touching the campaigns all the time. You want something that works 95% out of the box. So responsive ads are going to get you there, and you're going to want to test headlines later on. So you want all the headline ideas you can possibly throw at Google right now, and then narrow down the ones that work later on. So now that we have 2 different campaigns, I'm going to make this the installation campaign. So just pretend with me that this is already built out. We have, 10 to 20 campaigns or 10 to 20 ad groups in here built out. Make sure the cost per clicks are the averages of what Google tells you to, or your average bid, and you're not going to, your bids are going to be a lot of times lower, a lot of times higher, but you're going to make sure this is the average bid for your cost per click. So the big thing you want to do for these campaigns inside here is negative keywords. You want to exclude each one from each other. That's why we have the campaign builder built. So this is pretty easy. We download all the keywords, and then we put them inside here. All the keywords go inside here. All the ad groups go inside here. So we know that everything is unique to each ad group. So we want to make sure all the keywords are unique. And then we want to have the exact match so we can exclude them from each other keyword group. So download the keywords that you have built out from your campaign total, because your campaign is not running. It's going to take you maybe an hour or 2 to build a fully functioning campaign the way you want, the way that's going to work the best for you. Download it, upload it inside something like this, so you can use this pretty effectively to exclude everything. So for this mini split AC unit, you want to exclude all the rest of these keywords from that campaign. The way you do that is you go inside here, add in negative keywords inside just this ad group, not the campaign. Paste everything inside here, save. And now you excluded all the other ad groups from this campaign. And that's important because you don't want to cross-pollinate what you're doing inside each one. The ads are going to be a little different inside each one. You want to make sure that everything is relevant to each other. So that's going to be one of the bigger takeaways you have from building a campaign inside Google Ads is excluding your keywords from each other to make sure nothing cross-pollinates. So you have the best possible campaigns you can possibly have initially. Now, you're going to want a big negative campaign. You're going to want, we don't have any campaign negative keyword lists built out yet, but you can find negative keyword lists around the internet. And we have a 3,000 word list that we're going to use in each of our newly formed campaigns for contractors. So you want a negative campaign, you want 4 different types of negative lists for yourself. A DIY list, because you don't want people searching DIY terms in your campaigns. Sometimes you might, but I like to exclude them from installation and estimate campaigns initially. So a DIY list, a competitor list, you don't want to bid on your competitors' keywords inside this campaign. You want to exclude them from there. You want a general negative list, so all the keywords that you don't want to bid on, things like free. You do give free estimates, but a lot of the keywords that, and a lot of times for HVAC contractors, they're bidding on automotive keywords. That's one big tip. Like you want to exclude Ford, Mercury, Hyundai, GMC, Chevrolet, all those keywords, everything you can possibly think of that you don't want to bid on should be in your negative keyword list that you never want to bid on. Universal negatives are something you never want to bid on. So I'll reach out and we can give you our negative keyword list for HVAC campaigns. And then you want educational DIY, universal, and you want a hiring keyword list. A lot of times if someone is searching, especially if you have a phrase match or a broad match, you want to exclude hiring keywords because you're not looking to hire people. I've seen that a ton. People spend half their budgets looking for estimates. I'm trying to get estimates, but people are getting to their campaigns, clicking on their ads that are looking to be hired. So a hiring keyword list is going to be important for you as a contractor. Get that into your campaigns ASAP. So those are the 4 big keyword lists that you want to exclude, and I exclude them separately because you don't want to exclude information keywords all the time. You don't want to exclude competitor lists all the time. You don't want to exclude DIY lists all the time or hiring lists all the time unless you're actually going after those. But, a DIY list, I forgot. Did I say that? Might have said that. Anyway, those 4 type of keywords, and then negative, universal negatives is what you never want to bid on. So again, universal, DIY, educational, informational, whatever you want to call it, and hiring. Those are the big 4. So those are excluded from all the campaigns, all the estimate campaigns. So that is a big thing. And then optimizing throughout the long term. Every week or so initially, you want to come inside your search term list to make sure you didn't bid on anything that you weren't supposed to be bidding on. Google is sometimes dumb, and you don't want to bid on. So let's say you're excluding brands from this one, and you have all the brands built out. So you have all the mini split brands you can possibly think of. They're all excluded in this campaign. So that's a campaign-specific negative list. Those aren't the big 4. That's a campaign-specific. This is not a branded campaign. We don't want to bid on branded keywords. Sometimes you do, sometimes you don't. But for this one, we don't, unless you're being co-op, so then bid on Mitsubishi. But you can even put branded. I like to break out the branded campaigns different from the, regular campaigns. I like to do that separately because you want to have accurate spend on those campaigns, and the good way to do that is by breaking them out. But you don't have to. So if you do break them out, use a manufacturer list, negative list inside this as well, to get rid of all the cross-pollination. But if you're not breaking out the 2, you don't really care about co-op, then include that inside. You can include that inside here. But you want to exclude the branded campaigns or branded search terms You still want to make a list of it and then exclude them from specific ad groups later on. So those are the big tips for you for Google Ads. So you have a fully functioning ad campaign, a fully functioning landing page. Now to build a Facebook campaign. So a Facebook campaign is pretty much the same. You think about it the same way. What are you looking to do? What are you looking to? What is your goal initially for this campaign? Let's see what we're doing. How we're doing today. If we're doing any better than the last couple of days. All right. So we're going to build a fully functioning Facebook campaign. So as of right now, we spent how much money? Sorry about this. Just I need to know my stats for this contractor because he's really worried about his leads right now. All right. So let's go to my own ad account. Let's go to the one that I'm using currently, and then we'll build out a campaign aside there. So I'm going to go back and turn this off. This was just an example, but you're going to leave this running. And now you have a fully functioning campaign that gets you, for the most part, 85% of the way there. And you do this for each type of campaign. You do this for branded campaigns. You do this for your own brand. So your own brand campaigns are going to be your company's name plus whatever your service line is, so everything you sell, and then estimates, and then services, and installs, and all that type of stuff. You can build your own brand campaign. Think of the keywords that people would bid on or people would search for when they search for you. And then brand campaign, general campaign, retargeting campaigns are a little different. I'll show you how to build. Actually, let's build one of those first inside Facebook, and then we'll come back to Google and build it. Actually, there's the same way. So I'm going to build inside Facebook, and you build it inside Google. You can build a display network campaign, a video campaign for retargeting. I like video campaigns a lot for retargeting. You see a lot of low, high quality leads coming through there for retargeting, and then a competitor campaign. If you want to build one out, you can. Think of it like a brand campaign for yourself. Treat it as such because people are looking at your competitors. And for competitor campaigns specifically, you want to make sure you do it right. You don't want the customer service line. You don't want, reviews. You don't want any of that stuff from your competitors. So make sure you build it out accordingly. Think of the things that you want from your competitors and think of the things you don't want. And that will lead you to excluding things you don't want. So reviews of them. So people are looking for reviews of them. People are, you might want that depending on, hey, our reviews are better. They have 4 stars, we have 5, whatever it is. But think of it strategically. Don't just throw things at the wall. Think of it strategically at first. And then we're going to build remarketing campaigns for each of our things. So analytics, the pixels are going to help you build remarketing campaigns. So for here, we have a remarketing campaign I've been meaning to build, so I'm going to build it right now. I want conversions from my remarketing campaign, and conversions are going to need to be set up on your website initially. I'm not going to show you how to do that, just walking you through the strategy behind it. How to do it is something totally different. Strategy is retargeting. So this is retargeting is different from remarketing. Retargeting is people who haven't bought from you. Marketing is people who have. Retargeting. And one more thing about the Google Ads campaigns, you want to exclude all the converters from your campaign, so they don't continue to click on your ads. Same thing from your retargeting campaigns. You want to exclude all converters. Retargeting, this is going to be all HVAC companies. And then we're going to do, this is going to be leads. So kind of the same way, conversions, A/B tests, I'm not going to worry about any of that stuff. Same thing for you, don't worry about campaign budget optimization, A/B testing. You want conversions, optimization, goal. My budget is going to be, initially it's going to be 20% of your ad budget. So for me, as of right now, it's going to be $5 is going to be plenty for me right now. I'll scale it up later. $5. There we go. So some days you'll spend $6.25, some days, but the average would be $5.01 per day. All right. So lookalikes, we don't want to worry about that. We're going to worry about only people who have been to our landing page. So you're going to need to build out an audience. I have my audience built already. So last 30 days of people who have seen my videos. So for you, how to build an audience inside each of these things. Business.facebook.com, audience manager in your account. Go to the audience tab, and then we're going to build out a audience tab based on the pixel on your website. So the pixel has to be installed on your website. It has to be installed on your landing pages. And what we're going to do is build out an audience based solely on the audience, the marketing that you're doing on Google. So only the people who've been to one specific landing page are going to see these ads. So you're going to go to the landing page, you're going to take the URL, take that back to Facebook. Same thing inside Google while this loads up. Audience Manager inside here, go to Tools and Settings, go to Audience Manager, and then we're going to build a custom audience for our retargeting. This is going to be only people who have seen our ads or have been to our landing page. We want ad engagers. Can you do that on Google? I know you can do it on Facebook. We'll figure out if you can do it on Google. So custom segment, add a plus here, website visitors. So it looks like you can't do it on Google. Website visitors, people who have clicked, visited the page, URL. It looks the same basically in Facebook. You're going to tell it which page to visit. You're going to name this all ad ductless ad visitors 30 days. So 30 days there. Page URL contains. It's going to be this page URL. You wanted to say contains and not exact because every time someone clicks on the ad, Facebook and Google and whoever the platform is automatically add a UTM or add a parameter on back of the URL. So you want the base URL inside here. You can do and other pages that you have built for specific campaigns, like retargeting audiences for specific service lines, so ductless, tankless, whatever it is. And then we're going to does not contain your thank you page. So people who have been to one page but not and have not converted, this is going to show your ads too. People have been to one page and not the other page. So people who have been to both pages, they're not going to be in this audience. People who have been to only one page and not the other page are. So that's how you're going to fill this segment. You can create converters as a segment. I prefer to create converters and exclude one, include the other, so I can have a big wide net. Excuse me. So I like to do just contains this one pre-fill segment. Yes, it'll backfill it if you have the pixel or wherever you're getting your data from here. So you're going to include that, and then you're going to create an ad or a segment for all converters. Customer list. This is all your current clients. You're going to create that, and then you're going to create a converter segment based on the same thing you did for page visitors, just the thank you page. These are going to be all the ductless converters. You're going to exclude them from your campaigns, from your marketing campaigns. So Facebook, we're back here. Audience segment, we're going to do a custom audience, website activity. And we're going to been same thing. People have been to a specific page, but not the other page. People have seen landed on the pixel. Specific web pages for the last 30 days. People have been to this page. And then we're going to name it. And then you're going to create an audience for all converters. That's why I thank you page is important. So people who have been to our thank you page, and we're going to exclude one from the campaign and the other from the other campaign. So that's how you create your audience, exclude one from the other. So after that's done, after your audience is created, you can continue with your campaign, creation. People who have engaged with our ads living in the United States. So you want to still use your area, whatever that is. Olympic place in Towson. All right. Towson, Maryland. City. And then we're going to do a radius of 25 miles. People living in, not recently in, for you, especially because you want people who are homeowners of you. So this is radius. Same type of campaign you build out for your cold traffic. This is just retargeting, but it's the same, basically the same way. Homeowners ages have been going up recently. People in my generation, the millennial generation, have not been owning homes recently. So typically for contractors who are getting installations, 34 age is where we start and up. And usually they're males. You can include all genders, but usually they're males. So I know for us, for ductless specifically, it's going to be males. We don't want expanded targeting. And a lot of times, this is going to be good enough for your campaigns, especially if you're in a smaller area. Major cities, if you have over, let's say, 2 million people in your city that qualify for this type of targeting, you're going to narrow down a little bit. You want to have at least 250,000 people that you want to advertise to. The bigger, the better for Facebook usually, but like I said, this is going to be remarketing. So I'll give you campaign-specific advice if you're building a cold traffic campaign. Income, especially for estimates for people planning, is going to be a big differentiator. And home ownership. Income, just type in income here. It'll give you income levels, income. This is for retargeting campaigns, so you don't see anybody here, but if I exclude my audience here, you'll see that it gives me a big wide net of people. So income is usually going to be all you need for you or home ownership. Homeowners. Facebook doesn't really have a good built out for this one. Demographics. Just go through here and see what makes sense for you. Facebook has redone their targeting a ton recently, so they don't let you target homeowners specifically. Education doesn't really matter. Financial income, we already have these built in. So income is typically all you need. Usually these are higher priced things if you can't sell it to lower income people, but if you have financing options like something like Mycroft, you can, then you can include lower income people as well. But let's see, if I exclude all this, what's my target audience? 500,000 people. It's usually good enough. Typically we like to start with a lookalike audience and then use that only. So lookalike audience is people who have been your customer in the past. The way you do that, same way. Go inside here, same way you did in Google. Go inside your audience manager, upload a customer list, and then create a lookalike audience based on that customer list. So if you have a list already built, go inside here, audience manager, and then create a lookalike of that audience. We have some already, so I'm going to include them. I'm also going to, when this loads up, I'll show you. Suggestions is going to be, oops, I don't need detailed targeting. I need my actual audience suggestions. Audience right here, blah, 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 blah. All right, custom audiences is going to be, look like of all contractors. There's 2 million people that look like contractor data. We're going to do all of my viewers inside the US. There we go. And since this is remarketing, I'm going to use all in all for the most part. And Facebook will do the rest for me. Targeting campaigns typically don't have very much detailed targeting. You don't need them. And a lot of times I like to stick with manual placements and only the Facebook newsfeed. I know that goes against a lot of things people say, but for us, especially for estimates, there are a lot of things you need to do, and this is the one that converts the best. And a lot of times you need different assets to convert inside InStream, articles, all this type of stuff. We're going to exclude all these things, and Instagram especially. Exclude that. Stories, all that stuff we're going to exclude. You're going to need different things to convert in different ways on different platforms, and this goes into different platforms, so let's not do that. Let's just go inside Facebook to start. One campaign that works, and then you expand that. So I'll reach, with $5 a day, I'll reach 170 people who have seen my videos every single day. So we're going to click on next. So that's how we set up the targeting. And then the ad creative can be, it's usually installation pictures work the best of this type of service you're advertising for. And keep in mind, this is retargeting, so people who've already seen your advertising and been to your landing page before. So you can make this ad pretty simple. Forgot your, where are we at? Forgot your estimates, your ductless estimates. Don't wait too long. Click the link below and schedule it today. Don't wait too long. Our schedule is filling up fast. We only have 2 slots available. Consultation slots available. Tomorrow. Some type of social proof, and then you can, put your stuff in here. Get your estimate scheduled. Intended availability. Get your estimate scheduled today. And then a picture of a recent installation. I like compilation videos of all the installations you've done recently. So case studies work well, video case studies work well. You can do text reviews. You can just take a screenshot of the texts. You can do installation pictures. They work really well. A lot of times our marketing ads will be reviews of our clients, like previous install clients, and what has, what they said about our company. Those work really well. Building that out, and then the URL you send them back to. If you're doing website conversions, you're going to send them back to the landing page to have them convert. Make sure Facebook has conversion set up. And then if you're doing lead forms, you're going to want to hook this up with Zapier to send you an email automatically and send them a text, all that type of stuff. So that needs to be filled out. Display link should be your website /estimate, and then your Facebook pixel should be set up. URL parameters, you can build your URL parameters inside here. I like to do that, especially for Facebook, to make sure you're doing a really good job. Now, for a customer list, let's go back inside here. See, we have all these lookalikes. So you have a customer list uploaded. You're going to need the name, email, phone number, zip code if you have it, costs of installation, like the revenue they generated if you have it. Putting in the revenue works the best. Gives you higher quality leads. You can have things like conversion leads. You can optimize for conversion leads and not just leads. So people who are more likely to convert after they fill out a lead form, you can optimize for that. So all that works well. So you need at least the name, email, phone number. Actually, email will just work. But first name, last name, email, phone number. You can have their age if you want to, gender if you want to, year of birth, date of birth, zip code, state, city, and then the customer value. So that's what you want to have inside of the big, long spreadsheet. Load everything up inside here and make sure everything populates correctly. And then once that's done, create a lookalike audience of that. So usually we use 1 to 10% lookalikes. 1% if we want to get really, really targeted in our ads. 10% if you want to get a general idea in your service radius isn't that big and you don't have that many people in it. 10% so we can narrow down from there. Generally, with all our campaigns, we only do lookalikes. So we don't typically do targeted detailed targeting on here. You typically start with lookalikes and then optimize from there. So that's all done. That's how to create a Google Ads campaign, Facebook campaign, and the strategy behind how everything works for a contractor. So initially, people go to a landing page from a Google ad. They go to a landing page. If they don't convert, so 97% of people don't usually convert on the first time, send them a retargeting ad on Facebook, on Google, on YouTube, etc. Display network works really well. YouTube works really well. You can do a search campaign that works really well. So even inside here, you can target people who've only clicked on your ads inside Google. A retargeting list by retargeting search RLSA, retargeting list search ads. You can do those as well. Only people who've clicked on your ad, you can follow them around the internet with Google Ads. Hey, you forgot your estimate, click back here. All that good stuff. So that's all built into your campaigns. And you can figure out how to do it pretty well. But these are just the basics of what you need for a campaign. You need a retargeting campaign, broad campaign, and your brand campaign. Those are all the basics. I showed you how to set up a Google Ads campaign from start to finish, the proper way for HVAC contractor. And now we'll talk about the tools you need to make all this work well. So Google Analytics, of course, Google Optimize, Google Tag Manager, of course. Call tracking you're going to need something like CallRail. CallRail is going to help you track people when they're calling you and how your people are answering. Something like CallRail is going to be for inbound. It's just the bare minimum. You can do something like Gong if you're doing outbound calling to your two people. You can also use CallRail for people. Gong is more for high performing sales teams. It's going to be a couple $100 a month. CallRail is going to be $50 a month or so for you. You'll get a bunch of phone numbers. You can track ad campaigns. You can inside your Facebook ads. You can have a banner on the very bottom. They can show a iframe banner of your phone number. They can click on that. You want to have different numbers for different platforms to make sure everything's working correctly. CallRail is going to be what you want to set up initially for your call campaigns. Forward everything to your main line or whoever answers the phone, your sales team, whoever does it. But you want to track everything and make sure you're tracking everything. You can hook up CallRail to Google Ads, import the data back and forth so you can see which campaigns are working best, call campaigns, etc. This is imperative. A text platform like ClickSend. So ClickSend is going to send out all the email or all the entire. It's going to send out all the. You can send out emails from it and texts. I'm going to show you exactly what you need to build that out. And then Zapier. Zapier is going to you just need to hook everything together. Google Ads, Facebook Ads. It's going to be a paid platform. It's going to be $20 a month, but it's going to save you a ton of time. And then two things I want to mention. You don't really need them. They're not imperative, but they can help you out. Anyword is so you can see here, I can rewrite my ads to make them more engaging. So they give you a score here. This score is based on $250 million worth of ad spend. Score is for, it's really going to be, it's going to tell you the Facebook policy, It's going to tell you the Google policy. It's going to tell you your features, what emotion you're trying to drive, the benefits of this specific targeting. Ad wording, everything. So any word, take what you have, optimize it inside here. So let's say I go back inside my campaign. I'm going to go inside my ads. And I'll show you how I use it. I don't use it to create stuff for me. I use it to iterate for me. So we're going to do this. All right. Go inside my ads. You can tell any word what you're looking to do. So this is for Facebook. I am not looking for Facebook. I'm looking for Google search ads, new project, or existing project. We're going to do an existing project because I think I already have one built out for this. Any word. Here we go. Mini split ads. Here we go. All right. Rewrite. So where's my campaign? So I'm going to take one of my headlines and we're going to see if it can give me a better headline. Usually it can. And usually I do this process a couple times to make the headline better and better and better. So I'll see what and I like to get it into the 70, 80 range for any word. So this is going to be 84, so it's a pretty good headline. See if we can make it any more engaging. It's going to generate ideas for me, usually 5 to 10 ideas. You can cater the ideas, but if it can't generate any more engaging ad copy, then it's going to tell you it can't. Book a mini split system install quote. There we go. I'm going to take that. It's 38 words. So let's see if we can put that aside. Our Google dashboard, I can't. This is going to be, how many words is this? It's 44 words. Can't really put that aside here because you have 30 word minimum. So if you can see, let's say book a mini split install quote. So let's see. So that's a good headline. See if we can make that any better. Headline went down. That's because it gave me a bad suggestion. It was over 40. It was over 30 letters. 30 spaces. 83. This is going to be 49. Can't use that. I can kind of narrow that. There we go. Book your. So we're going to take this. Put it aside here again. Book A. See what that. So that's even better. So it's a good job. So we're going to take that. Put it inside our campaign. So you can do this over and over and over again to get different headlines. You want to make sure they're not identical, but you want to make sure they make sense to your business. So that's one way we use many word. You can do any word. You can use it for your headlines. You can use it for your body copy, all that good stuff. You can take your copy inside here, rewrite. If you give it a brief, it will give you suggestions. But I like to write my own stuff because I'm a control freak. And I know I can do a very good job initially because I've been doing it for years. But you never want to stop getting better. So I use this to see if I can create better. Stop looking. You found the right mini split installer in Dallas. All right, that sounds good to me. So we're going to take this, the Untitled campaign, and then we're going to see if that works. So that's how we use any word. And then the second tool I want to show you is ClickCease. ClickCease is a click fraud monitoring system. You're going to install it inside your Google Ads, and it's going to monitor the click fraud inside your ads. Typically, we see you get back about 25% of your ad budget because those are wasted clicks, especially if you're doing display network and YouTube ads. Search network for highly targeted, high intent keywords usually doesn't see that much click fraud, but they're expensive. So even though you don't see that much click fraud, it can add up to a lot of money at the end of the month. Even if, let's say, your keyword is $9 on average, you have 100 clicks over the month. Now $9 on average, $3,000. All right, let's do some math. $3,000 on your campaign, $9 on average. You're going to get 333 clicks to your campaign. Usually we see about 20% of that, 25% of that is click fraud. So divided by 4. So that is how many clicks? 83 clicks that are click fraud. 83 times 9 is a lot of cash, $750 worth of click fraud in your account. So something like this is definitely important for you to get done. I think it's only $90 a month, so it's not that much. And it's definitely going to save you more than you spend. So it's going to be helpful. All right, so setting up Zapier so you can get your marketing campaigns up and running and your sales team up and running quickly. So we're going to create a Zap. And we're going to log in to each of our things inside through the Zapier campaign builder. All right, create a Zap. Let's get rid of all this stuff because we don't need it to make my internet run a little faster because my screen is running super slow. All right. Done, 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 done. So I think we're done with Google Ads and Facebook. We're just going to talk about the follow-up process and the sales process for these leads specifically. All right, done with that, done with that, done with that. So now Zapier is going to hook up everything to everything else. You're going to need your things set up. So initially we're going to do Facebook ads, lead ads, or you can do your, however you get your leads in. If they send them to your email, you can port them in from your email. If they send them in from lead pages, they port them in from lead pages. If you want to do your Google Ads lead form, so this is for lead forms. Anything in Google Ads that comes in from a lead form is sent whatever. So however you port in your leads, let's do a Gmail. However you port in your leads is going to be important. Trigger, email matching a new string. Typically, you're going to get an email from your lead source about your leads. Anything that matches this. So you want to have naming conventions that make sense for a bot to look up and pull out information from. So it's going to be subject, new lead. Anything that says new lead in it, we're going to pull inside this flow, and we're going to we're going to pull inside the flow. So that's one way of doing it. Typically, we like to do it by the platform. So we're going to do this again. Change this to Facebook lead ads. I'll do lead ads because it's the simplest. We have a ton of them, so I can show you pretty quickly. Here we go. All right. New lead comes in, instantly is going to send you a message from my Facebook page. Pages, we have a ton of pages here. It's going to take the nearest one. All right. Lead form, don't have any lead, actually I don't have a lead form built up for this one. You can do any form. I recommend doing that, especially if you have all the forms look pretty much the same. You don't require any more information from anything else. Any form that comes in, let's do one that has forms. Let's do one more that have forms. Any form that comes in. Test it. All right, so I got lead information in there. All right, continue. So that's done. So once the lead form comes in, we want to track everything. Create our own spreadsheet. You have a spreadsheet that you created for your leads. Make sure you know how many leads come in. I'm just going to pick something here. All right. Just going to go to the spreadsheet, worksheet. Then these are going to be, you're going to name the columns, what you have for your lead form. So it's going to be the full name. It's going to be the email. It's going to be the phone number. And whatever else you have. So I like to do created time. I like to do, where's the zip code? Zip code. So he scheduled the time. He wants an estimate, so that type of thing. So anything you want ported in. I don't need to test it because I know it works. All right, so get into the meat and potatoes of here. Back to setup. All right. So this person, you're going to want to send a text, 2 texts, and 2 emails initially. So here we're going to do click send SMS. We're going to send out a SMS. To his phone number, the lead source's phone number, and then the message, hey, name, just got, thanks for reaching out through, I like to put the lead source in here, Facebook. That's the initial text, that's it. Schedule it, leave this blank, schedule it immediately. From your specific, so you're going to go inside, click send, get your phone number, put it inside here, so you can check everything here. That's going to be it. So that's the that's the first text that goes out. The second text that goes out, you're going to wait, delay, actually, you know what? I don't want to delay it here on this step, because it'll delay everything else. I'm going to delay it inside the actual click send account. So we're going to do the same exact thing. Send an SMS to that person. Same person. Send it to his phone number. Would you be opposed to setting that estimate up now? Ductless. So the service line, he make sure you have that. It's important. Acts a no question, so he has to say no to actually say yes. Allow messages to be scheduled. Timing. Leave blank for instant delivery. We want to wait for 1 minute, so we're going to figure out how to actually do that here. Time must be in. Or we can go inside click send and then schedule the time later. So I don't feel like doing all that, so I'll just go inside the Zapier function here until it waits a minute to send this text. So you want to send a text, you don't want to send it back to back, you want to wait a minute so it looks like you're actually texting. Delay 4. And this is going to be in minutes. Minimum delay is 1 minute, so 1 minute. That's fine. 1 minute. Delayed, another text. All right. So that's done. So text is going to send as a scheduling text. You're going to wait 1 minute. Would you like to get setting up this ductless estimate now? Make sure there's no typos. And they'll respond back. In the first text, make sure you have your name. I just did the basics, but make sure you have your name. This is Adam from company, by the way. So you want your name in there to make sure he knows exactly who is coming from. And remember, this is going to be sent out immediately after he reaches out to you through Facebook. So that's done. Close that. So the same number sends out the text. You don't need to put your name in here again because you already have it in there. You have to, it's going to be one text after the other. Would you be opposed to setting up that ductless estimate right now? He'll either answer back yes, I'm opposed to it, or no, I want to. If he says yes or no, you reach out. If he says yes, typically they usually meant to say no, but they didn't look at the question very strategically, or look at the question very hard. They meant to say yes, I want to set it up right now. So reach back out. That's a manual text back to reach back out. And then email, send immediately. So this, I want to move this step before the delay. So this is going to be a text, an email sent out immediately. Basically the same question, but you want to hit them on both fronts. And your follow-up game needs to be on point. The reason being is following up within 5 minutes, you have, I think, a 250% higher chance of selling them. I think it's something like that. I don't remember the exact stat, but I know it's extremely high. From yourself, so you're going to send it from yours, and then from name. I like to do Adam at company name. So whoever your salesperson is, it's going to be your company name. Reply to, it's going to be the email address you have for them or yourself. Subject line, estimate requests. On Facebook, the platform as well. And then it's basically the same thing. Hey, name. We just got your request from Facebook about scheduling a Douglas estimate. And that's it. Just a confirmation email. On the first one, you'll see a lot of people respond to it with the time they want. That's done. The next step is to ask them directly to send out or to schedule an email. So we're going to go through the same steps. It's basically going to say, would you like to set up Adam again? Sorry for this second email. I forgot to ask in the first one if you have a time in mind for your estimate. Do you? Let me know and we can work around your schedule. What time did you have in mind? So again, Adam again. So you're restating who you are. Sorry for the second email because it doesn't really make sense for you to send a second email, but you want to have 2 touch points initially with them. So sorry for the second email. I forgot to ask you in the first one if you have a time in mind for your Douglas estimate. So make it short and simple. It doesn't have to be complicated. Let me know and we can work around your schedule. What time did you have in mind at the question? So you want the question always to be after by itself so it stands out. And then, whatever your reliably, this is my email signature, whatever email signature is, you have to put your email signature in here because it won't automatically send it out for you. So put your email signature in here and then that'll work like that. Okay. So that is the step-by-step on what you need to do initially when a lead comes in from any lead source. Lead comes in, you set it in a spreadsheet so you can keep track of it. Then you send out a text initially, an email automatically as soon as it comes in. You wait a minute, send out another text, another email. And typically, of the people who are going to respond, the second text gets them to respond the majority of the time. The second email does the majority of the time as well. So it takes care of one follow-up for you initially. So that's how you build it out in Zapier. And this is this will help you boost your booking ratio, I'd say probably by 50%. So whatever your booking ratio is now, help you get up by 50% just by having this in place. And it's pretty simple to do. So that is in place. So that's the cadence of following up initially. And then you have to have your sales team on the ball. So the rest of it, you can automate everything and make everything really spammy. We would prefer not to do that. Automating everything never works, especially if you've never done it before. And a lot of these platforms, you're going to need to have to do things custom to make everything work the way you want it to. So if someone responds back, then stop sending emails, etc. So the initial cadence is 1 minute after. So that already taken care of initially. That's taken care of already by the initial afterwards text. This is the plan for it. Then 10 minutes after they submit, you need to have your sales guys follow up these leads on the phone, be on the phone within 5 minutes or 10 minutes. So first, text, email, 1 minute. Within the 5 minutes, they need to be getting a phone call from you. If they don't answer on the initial phone call, call right afterwards. The second phone call is right afterwards. They don't answer on that call. It says 10 minutes. This is say 5 minutes. And then 15 minutes, call again. Leave a message. You don't leave a message the first 2 times. Leave a message the third time. So you want 3 calls within 15 minutes. And then an hour after submission, 2 hours, they get a text. 4 hours, they get a text and a phone call. And they get a text, email, and phone call 2 hours after. 1 after they get a phone call. Email, phone call, text here. Email and phone call here. No need for another text. Then 1 day after, email, phone call, text. 2 days after, email, phone call, text. 3 days after, email, phone call, text. So within the first 3 days, you follow up with them at least, I think, 7 times each way. 2 email, phone call, texts initially. Then 15 minutes afterwards, they get 3 phone calls from you. That's 5 times already. Email, phone call, text here. So that is 8 times. Phone call here, 9 times. Email, phone call, 11 times. 11 follow-ups, 14, 17, 21. So we're at 21 follow-ups as of right now within the first 3 days on combining everything. So that's what initially needs to happen. Email, phone call, text, email, phone call, text, email, phone call, text. Those are all done manually, so you have a list of people who you need to send out email, phone call, text for the day. So that's how you run an effective sales process. And then 14 days later, phone call, email, not necessarily a text, but you can figure this out. You can figure out the cadence that you want. Usually I do email, phone call, text every single day. I know people until they tell me to stop. But for you, you might not want to do that. It really depends on what you're comfortable with. I wanted to make sales. I was a salesperson. That's how I lived. That's how I fed my family. So I wanted to make sales. I was on them hard. Email, phone call, text. 14 days, 28 days. After 28 days, you put them into a retargeting campaign. No need to call them again. That's a retargeting campaign specifically for people who haven't followed up with you on platform. Think that through for yourself, what you want them to say. Hey, we could get in contact with you. Sorry about that. Our bad. Maybe we don't have the right number. Schedule your Douglas estimate again here. Something like that. Keep it simple. And that takes care of it. So that's the follow-up cadence on your leads. Now, after you get an estimate, kind of the same thing. I'm going to go through the follow-up process. So, initially, right after the estimate, thank you for the opportunity is what I typically send out. I usually send out an email with a link with a video in it. So I used to send out a link with a video, and in the video, I used to explain what was on the estimates. When I got to my computer at the end of the day, every estimate I went on for that day, and usually it was about 5 or 6 a day, I sent out a personalized video for those people talking about their estimate, what everything was. I like to draw up sometimes initial drawing on the computer, a workup of the system. I did a lot of mini splits, so I did This one's going to go here on this wall. This one's going to go here on this wall. I had the pictures with me. I took at their house. I explained everything in the follow-up email initially. Thank you for the follow-up. Just in case you haven't seen us, we want to educate you on the best options for you. And then this is going to be animated GIF linked to video. So if you use Loom, Loom lets you animate a GIF automatically by just putting in a link into your email, inside Gmail. So that is centered in here, and then that's kind of like centerpiece of the email. And if you approve the estimate, if they go back inside the estimate, they can click approve. I didn't send them a link to the estimate because I didn't know how, unfortunately, from HouseCall Pro. We use ServiceTitan and HouseCall Pro. They didn't really give you a good way to link the estimate inside this email, or I would have done that as well, linked it to there. But if you go back inside your email, click approve. And what I would do is I would resend them the estimate right before I sent them this email, so they would get both, so they can walk through and approve the email or the estimate right afterwards. If you want to approve this estimate, just click approve inside the estimate button. And a lot of times people ask me how to do that. So on a follow-up, I showed them how to do that. A little about us. Let's talk about the company. Been in the HVAC business for 60 years on staff, 5 years, 500 reviews. You can apply for financing here. If your credit is approved, so I walked through the financing, a little bit about the financing stuff as well. So that was the initial follow-up email. And I made sure I did that on everybody. Everybody I initially followed up with, and some people I would get back initially, some people I'll get back afterwards. But after the initial follow-up email, I didn't really send out very many more emails. I sent out a lot. I called a lot of people. So it was a lot of phone calls, especially on weekends. My weekend, Saturday, Sunday, was only following up on estimates I did the month prior, the weeks prior. So I had a cadence of, I followed up with this person 30 days, followed up with this person 15 days, followed up with this person 7 days. 7 days is what I wanted to make sure I got phone calls to everybody within 7 days. Within 3 days if I could. Sometimes I couldn't, but sometimes I could. Most times I could. So within 3 days, give them a phone call. Email, it was a done deal ejmail. Then if you didn't get a booked estimate, typically the booking ratio or the closing ratio would be around 40-50% or so overall for the whole system. A lot of times you're around 20 to 30% for new installations for contractors. So this is literally double the conversion rate, and it's worth it for your salespeople to do it because if you have a good structure, they make a lot of money. They can make upwards of, I think, when I was a salesperson there, 150 or so I was on track for that year, and I didn't have very good comp structure either. I think I made 2% of, on average, I made 2% of revenue for those sales. A lot of times people pay salespeople 10%, so they can make a ton of money. So call within 30 days or 3 days. 3, 7, 14, 30 was my cadence for calling. After an estimate was scheduled, you still want to follow up with these people. If they hadn't closed within 30 days, these were the emails we sent that got them back redoing their estimate. So within 14 days, I would say, I would have an email saying, hey, your estimate's about to expire. Wanted me to redo it now. Just let me know, and I'll resend it to you. I'll update it for you. That was on day 14. They've already talked to me. We've already talked about the estimate, talked about the concerns they had. And I was asking them if they hadn't closed already. And I would do this manually. Do you want me to update your estimate? Yes or no? If they hadn't closed within 30 days and I haven't heard anything back from them, literally these 3 emails are all you need to send. I test out different versions for yourself. I like the giving up. I like to push hard, so giving up. But this is if they have not closed within 30 days. These are the emails you send. First name, last name. Are you still planning to install ductless in your house? Let me know. That was it. Send it out. Giving up got a ton of responses. This got about an 85% response rate you'll get a decent amount of them being negative. But if they know your salespeople, they know they follow up, push hard. So I didn't get a ton of negative. It wasn't very negative for me because of the personality, but depending on the personality of the person, you might want to shy away from this. But for me, I can get away with it because I was usually very accommodating. I didn't like to give. They know I don't like to give discounts, but I was very accommodating to their needs. I customized the plan to them. I followed up with them. I made a customized plan for them. I sent them a video talking about the customized plan. So you can get away with it. I built up a lot of social capital. You can get away with this type of stuff. Giving up. Hey, John, haven't heard from you. Just want to know if you still want to do this project. Hey, did you give up on this project? Literally, just that was it. Send it out. Still planning. Are you still planning to install a ductless system? Send it out. These will get at least 50% response rates on your emails. Get people back into your closing the deals that they either forgot about, but you want to know, like, I don't know why people don't follow up. I want to know if they went with another company because I want to stop following up with them. And they want me to stop following up with them. So I want to know a yes or a no. That's it. So these are the 3 emails that you need. Test them out for you. Which one works? And then you have a fully built out sales funnel, lead funnel, marketing funnel, all that type of stuff. So this walk from soup to nuts. Setting up a campaign initially, the steps you need to convert people into traffic into customers, to leads, and then following up those leads to make sure they close for your business. Do these things, and I promise you, you will increase all the metrics, make a ton more money, and make pretty much everything you do in advertising. You'll pay for a lot of your tests if you have a very dialed-in sales process. And a lot of people don't. That's why they can't make their marketing work for them. And that's why we like to stick to estimates, because estimates, you can make your marketing work for you even if the sales process isn't that great. So if we get a company like this, I'd be ecstatic if they have something like this built out, but normally they don't. So this was soup to nuts, what to say, what to do, from getting a lead in, how to market to that lead, how to get the lead booked for you, how to sell that lead. Hopefully this helps you. I know this is a very long video, but hopefully this helps you. Hopefully you take it and make more money with it. I will chop this video up into different sections. I'll leave this up in its entirety. I won't edit anything, the gaffes, all that. I want you to take this. I want you to make a ton of money with it. Seriously, because I don't know. I've always wanted to own my business running it, and then I ran an HVAC company for 2 years, and I know that it's a grind. So if I can help you in any way make that grind more tolerable, then I'm more than happy to do that. Also, we do advertising for HVAC companies. And if you're interested in having someone run your ads for you and do a good job at that, let us know. We can more than happy to help you. But as you can see, my expertise in selling HVAC stuff, I'm not going to walk you through. I had template built for estimates, all the rebuttals people would say, everything. Something that's not the purpose of this video. I don't want to actually put that inside here. This is just the overview strategy on how we're going to do things. So I'm also going to make this video for new clients to walk them through the campaign structure, how they're going to do this. But for you, if you actually listen to the whole way, kudos to you. Go out there and kill it. And it's been Adam with Eros Media. Talk to you soon.